2.2 million square feet, in 21 interconnected buildings, housing 17 curatorial and 5 conservation departments on the eastern border of New York's Central Park. Imagine taking the Empire State Building, turning it on its side, and then packing it with 5,000 years of some of the world's richest treasures. Unlike London's National Portrait Gallery, mostly paintings, and Madrid's Museo Reina Sofia, modern art, the Met has everything. Its 17 curatorial departments span art created at the dawn of civilization in Sumeria and Mesopotamia to works of abstract expressionism, video, and multimedia. In between, there are mummies, crucifixes, and works by Goya, Matisse, Warhol, Duccio, Picasso, Michelangelo, and Leonardo da Vinci. There are massive pieces of sculpture and chairs, and rings and coins, vases and paintings, and tapestries of all kinds. The Met's expansive collection and my responsibilities extended to the cloisters, housing the medieval collection in a stone fortress opened in 1938 in Upper Manhattan's Fort Tryon Park, and beginning in 2016, the newly minted Met Breuer on 75th Street and Madison Avenue. As I write this, the Met has announced plans to leave the Breuer building in a few years, with the Frick collection as the next likely tenant. The personnel lifeblood of the Met, and any museum, is its curators. This incredible and passionate team of experts is responsible for acquiring, preserving, evaluating, and ultimately displaying the great works in a museum's possession, as well as arranging for visiting exhibits and touring pieces of our own collection. Curators have to deal with a different form of art theft, forgery, which has its own intertwined place in the history of art and crime. Curators want the most people to see the most objects. 7 million visitors enjoyed the Met in 2016, and that number is only growing. It's at this intersection of the museum and the public where my department plays its largest, but not its only role. Of course, we've all seen the guards who walk museum galleries, and this is one basic layer of defense. When I started at the Met, there wasn't much more than that. During my tenure, there was an explosion in both the number of visitors and the sophistication and efficiency of our security. One of the most difficult challenges a security professional faces in a museum is securing priceless art objects that are displayed throughout the galleries. The curators and designers want the art displayed to give the visitor a visual experience while minimizing obstructions, such as barriers and vitrines, display cases. They want to have the viewer get as close to the art as possible, but still heed the "do not touch" signs. This philosophy comes in direct opposition to security's mission of protecting art objects to reduce the opportunity for theft and damage. Thus, the challenge. As a native New Yorker, my personal history with the Met began in 1963. In February of that year, my mother and I stood in the bitter cold on a long line that snaked out the Met's front entrance and down Fifth Avenue. We waited to see one of the world's most renowned art treasures, Leonardo da Vinci's Mona Lisa. On any given day for the duration of the exhibit, thousands of people glimpsed the masterpiece as it hung in the Met's medieval sculpture hall. First Lady Jackie Kennedy had requested the loan by the French government, and it was the first time that the painting had left the Louvre, legally. In 1911, a former employee at the Louvre, Vincenzo Peruggia, stole the precious painting of the woman with the world's most famous and enigmatic smile and spirited it off to Italy. Some French officials were against allowing Leonardo's portrait to travel abroad, concerned that it might be damaged in some way, or worse. It was heavily protected during both its sea voyage and its time in the States. At the Met, it was protected by bulletproof glass, flanked by guards, and under the watch of detectives who lingered at the back of the crowd. On that first visit, I took for granted the question of security. But now I know that somewhere in the building, Captain Walter Cadet, a retired fire captain who was then the Met's security director, was carrying concerns I would one day inherit. His professional credentials also serve as a reminder that fire poses as much of a threat to the integrity of a museum's collection as any malevolent act.